Today's notes are going to go over parallel and perpendicular lines. Parallel and perpendicular lines really concentrate on the slope of the line. So the learning target is still, I can write an equation of a line in point slope or standard form or slope intercept form. So we're actually going to concentrate on the slope intercept form today. Now parallel lines are lines that never intersect. So they will never cross. They could go up and to the right. They could be both horizontal. The reason why they never intersect is because of the slope. The slope of parallel lines are the same. So if you have a slope of 2 for one line, then a parallel line would also have the slope of 2. Now, for example, in example 1, it says write an equation of a line parallel to the given line. So here we're going to give you a line. It's very important to see the word parallel. Parallel means same slope, or at least that's what should come to your memory. And then the slope is always next to your x value. So I'm going to identify that first. I'm going to write my m is 3 over 4. Now the next part, it gives you a point. Remember from the previous topic, a point is always x1 and then y1. We can plug that information in to our point slope form. Where our x1 will go into this location, our y1 will go into this location, and then we're just going to write the same slope that was given. So we have y minus 9 equals the same slope that was given in the first line, parentheses x minus 8. Now you want to distribute y minus 9 stays the same. 3 times 4, x is 3/4 x. Now 3 times negative 8 is negative 24. Divide by 4 is minus 6. Now we have one more step to do. We're going to add 9 on both sides to get it in slope-intercept form. So then we have y equals 3/4 x plus 3. Now take a look. They gave us a slope of 3/4. We still have 3/4. Now another thing that you should pay attention to is the y-intercept. The y-intercept of the first line was negative 2, and this one is 3. To have a parallel line, you must have same slope, but different y-intercepts. So let's check Desmos. Always go to Desmos when you are converting or when you're making a new line, just to check to make sure that it's right. So now we have y equals 3 divided by 2. And always make sure the x is on the right hand side, not underneath. X minus 2. So then that's our line. And then the line that we just found was y equals 3 divided by 2 with the x on the side. And then we said that the y-intercept was plus 3. Now notice we have a blue and red line, and they are parallel. No matter where we scroll or where we zoom, that blue and red line are going to stay the same distance away from each other. They will never intersect, no matter how many times we scroll, because the slopes are the same. Now, what I would like you to do is try your turn. Please hit pause. All right. Now, hopefully you've tried your turn and you have done Desmos to check your answer. Now, the most important thing for you to do is to identify the slope. The slope in this case is going to be negative 2 over 3. They also gave us a point negative 3, comma 5. So make that your x1 and your y1. Plug that information into the point slope so we can convert it. Remember, your y1 goes first in this part, and then your x1 goes into the parentheses. And then your slope, because it's the same, because it's parallel, notice the word parallel, is going to go into your m value. So y minus 5 equals negative 2/3 parentheses x. Now minus a negative is really adding 3. So then we can distribute the y minus 5, nothing happens to. Negative 2/3 x is negative 2/3 x. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6 divided by 3 is minus 2. So double check. We know that we have one more step to do. We're going to add 5 to both sides. So then we have y equals negative 2/3 x plus 3. So we have our slope, that's the same because they said parallel. And then if you look at our y-intercept, it's a plus 3. And this is really a plus 0. So we're going to have parallel lines. You can confirm on Desmos. So just type in your equation. Y equals negative 2/3 x. So that goes right through the origin. And then we got y equals, once again, negative 2/3 x plus 3. So no matter where we go on our graph, the purple and green line will be the same distance and they will never intersect. So that's how we know that they are parallel lines. Now, the opposite of parallel lines are perpendicular lines. These are lines that intersect at a 90-degree angle. Now, there are some lines that intersect, but they're not perpendicular. Perpendicular, like I say, we have maybe a straight up and down line and a horizontal line. They're perpendicular because of the angle that they produce. Now, slope of perpendicular lines are opposite and then they're reciprocals. So opposite reciprocals mean you change the sign and switch the top and bottom number. So for example, if we have a slope of m, which is 3, we can write that as 3 over 1. Now notice that was a positive. To make that a perpendicular slope, the opposite of a positive is a negative. And then what we would do to that 3 over 1, we would switch the numerator and the denominator. So 3 was on top, now 3 is on bottom. 1 was on bottom, now it's on top. So this would be a perpendicular slope. Now for the next example, m is 2/3. Notice that it's positive. If we are talking about perpendicular, opposite of positive is negative, and then we would switch the 3 and the 2. Now if we had, let's say, a negative 4 over 3, the perpendicular slope, the opposite of negative, would be a positive, and then we would switch 4 over 3 to be 3 over 4. So no matter what, when you have a perpendicular slope, you have to do both. You have to have the opposite, so switch the sign, and then switch the top and bottom number. Now, for example 3, it says write an equation of a line perpendicular to a given line. So we have our x1 and our y1, but this is the important part. We have m equals to negative 1 over 4. Now perpendicular, the line, how you can write perpendicular is kind of like a upside down T with a right angle. So I'll do that for perpendicular slope instead of rewriting it. Notice that we're talking about perpendicular right here, so you got to look for that word. Now go back to the slope that they gave you. It was negative, so my perpendicular slope is going to be positive. And then we're going to switch the numerator and the denominator. Positive 4 over 1 is really 4. So that is going to be our new slope that we use. So we have y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1. So we're going to use that new perpendicular slope in our point slope. Y minus 7 equals 4 parentheses x minus 1. Now you're going to distribute and then add 7 on both sides. And we have an equation that is now perpendicular to the line that was given. So let's confirm. So on Desmos, we have y equals negative 1 over 4 x and then let's see, it was plus 11. And then we have our new equation, which is y equals 4x. And then I believe it was plus 3. I'll double check in a second. Okay, so now we can check. Remember, you may have to play with the zoom. So these two lines are perpendicular, because they cross at a 90-degree angle. Another way that you can check is, of course, using Desmos. You can write the point that was given to make sure your line is correct. So we said the point was 1, 7. So you can always plot 1, 7. To make sure that your line was correct as well. So my red line now has 1, 7. It's included. So I know that I did the equation algebraically correct. All right, for your try it, same idea. It says perpendicular. So you know that you are going to have to do something to your slope. The slope that was given was 2. We need to find the perpendicular slope, which we had a positive. Now we're going to have the negative because it's opposite. You can write the slope as 2/1, and now you have to switch it for the perpendicular. So our new slope is going to be -1/2. Then we're going to use x1 and y1. So y minus 5 equals -1/2 because that's our perpendicular slope. And then x minus 4. Distribute -1/2 x. -1/2 times 4 is a positive 2. Write down the y minus 5. Add 5 on both sides. We're going to have y equals 1/2 x plus 7. Now, to check your answer, please go to Desmos and see if the lines intersect at a 90-degree angle and that your point, 4, 5, is on your new line, which is y equals -1/2 x plus 7.